Okay, a lot to digest there, and let's delve deeper into these revised GDP numbers. And to help us provide insight into that is John Quelch, professor at the University of Miami's Herbert Business School. Thank you so much for coming back in. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Sean.
Now, obviously a great deal of focus on the U.S. economy, kind of like a doctor constantly checking the ailing patient. The economy growing less than previously thought. So what happened? How would you say our patients doing now?
It's a work in progress, and I would say that the last couple of weeks we've seen data that would suggest that inflation is not being curbed as quickly as the Federal Reserve hoped, and therefore there's an adjustment being made in expectations around the number of 25 basis point increases that are likely to occur this year. So before the end of 2022, the forecast was baked into the market prices that there would be 225 basis point increases. We've had one so far. There's likely to be another one in March. But now the markets are indicating that there may be two more 25-cent basis point increases beyond that, whereby the end result will be a federal funds rate around about 5.4%.
So let's kind of put this in perspective, because in December, I clearly remember people saying, hey, the Fed indicated they may have 50 basis points at the next meeting. Now it's only going to be 25, and everybody felt so good. What is this going to do to people who want to purchase a new home? What's it going to do to people who want to buy a new car? Those big kind of purchases, or especially if you have a lot of credit card debt right now.
Okay. First of all, as far as the housing market is concerned, in many parts of the country, it's dead in the water. Discretionary sellers are simply not putting their properties on the market for sale, and buyers are obviously faced with a shortage of inventory, and therefore, even though the mortgage rates are escalating, if they need to have and have to have a home, they're still looking at fairly robust prices. There has not been a collapse in the housing market price points simply because the inventory available has become so tight. As far as automobiles are concerned, we are definitely seeing a softening in the demand-supply balance there. Consumers have more options. They are more, if I can put it this way, in the driver's seat and better able to conduct good, effective negotiation with the dealerships in order to get some good discounts.
John, you can't see our screen right now, but at the bottom it says recession worries. That is a word that constantly keeps clawing its way back into our lexicon, recession. Are we facing now a greater chance of dipping into a recession than economists had believed just a month ago?
Well, it appears that the Fed is being very cautious in terms of not over-egging the omelet, if I can pick up on the egg motif from the previous package, not over-egging the omelet by going for 50 basis point increases, though it is reported in the minutes of the Fed that a couple of the non-voting members of the Fed board were arguing for a potential 50 basis point increase in March. What I see is a cautious Fed that would rather elongate the number of 25 basis point increases rather than risk tipping the economy into recession by overdoing it. We all know that there is this 6-month or so lag effect. After the Fed puts up the rate, they won't see the result for maybe as long as 6 months.
John, real quickly, we have about a minute left. What's the best we can hope for? A soft landing? And what would that mean to homeowners and to millions of people in the United States living paycheck to paycheck?
Well, a soft landing, Sean, would mean that by the end of the year, we would be looking at prospective, if not actual, reductions in the interest rate, and therefore the availability of cheaper credit and lower mortgage rates.
Okay, John Quelch, any final words? You have just a little bit more time here. What do we need to keep an eye on in this quarter moving forward?
Yes, you mentioned the consumer sentiment data coming out tomorrow. I definitely would take a look at that because consumers have been holding up the economy, holding up in the sense of supporting the economy. And if consumer sentiment dips and consumers become less confident, then we may see what Walmart has hinted at, a decline in retail sales, and that would be good news for the consumer, curiously enough, because the Fed would then be less tempted to put up interest rates further.
Okay, John, as always, good stuff. John Quelch for us down in Miami. Thank you again.
My pleasure, Sean.